Somebody edited Nico Parker with a blonde wig. This is who they're complaining about playing Astrid. These are twins.
Hello there. Today's topic is about the reactions to the How to Train Your Dragon live-action remake. But first, some much-needed context. How to Train Your Dragon is an animated movie series set in a fictional Viking-inspired world where a young boy, Hiccup, befriends a dragon named Toothless. The story follows Hiccup's journey from a misfit to a leader as he learns to bridge the gap between humans and dragons, showing that they can coexist peacefully. The first movie came out in 2010, and the final installment was released in 2019. The trilogy was a major box office success, with the films collectively earning over $1.6 billion worldwide. So we are gathered here today because people are upset because the actress chosen to play Astrid is about a quarter black.
What is up with Hollywood and casting Nico Parker to play specifically young blonde white girls in these adaptations? It is obvious that Hollywood is doing this to just stir people up and get people talking, because they're definitely not making this decision based off of accuracy, because what's accurate about this? Oh my god, she's wearing her shirt? I hate when people try to act like I'm the crazy person when all I want is accuracy out of these adaptations. If these things have to be made, why not go the way of making it the best it can be? This chick will never be the real life version of Sarah from The Last of Us or Astrid from How to Train Your Dragon. If you're gonna turn something already perfect into a live action adaptation, we at least deserve accuracy in the looks.
I have an unpopular opinion about all these live-action movies turning everybody black. It be feeling like a here damn. You wanna know why? Because it's not hard to create new stories, you guys. We need more real black characters. I don't want characters that already exist and y'all just turn them black. No, we need more Princess Tianas. Oops, she was a frog for 80% of the movie. Or maybe more movies like Soul. Oops, he was a blob for the majority of the movie. Right. Y'all just don't care about black folk for real. Y'all don't want us to have actual storylines, because when you do give us actual storylines, you give us characters like Addie. I remember growing up, I wanted an Addie doll so bad. If you don't know who Addie is a slave. I hate y'all so bad. And now y'all got this little mix up poor girl getting all this backlash, wearing box braids during the Viking times just to make us happy. We didn't ask for this. We didn't ask. What we asked for are stories about us. For real. Try again.
What is so interesting to me in the whole conversation around the controversy of Nico Parker playing Astrid in the upcoming live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon is how little people seem to care about the inaccuracies in all of the other actors. And by the way, I chose this comment not because it agreed with me, but because it had like the most likes out of the ones that I've seen. Because sure, although Nico Parker doesn't have blonde hair in this particular shot, naturally her hair is actually quite light. If anything, something interesting that I found out is that she's the only person on the cast that actually has Scandinavian roots, which you can't say about these actors, who by the way are playing twins and are not twins, but I don't see anyone calling them out for that. People are also calling out hairstyling being generally different, which I kind of agree with, but also we don't know what comes with the practicalities of shooting in these environments in live action. It's easy to animate hair a certain way, which might not work in live action adaptation when they have to do stunts or when they have to do a lot of like acting moving around. So perhaps having her hair away in braids is just easier for the process. By the way, to all the people that are bringing up a white person playing Black Panther, this is not the same situation. This is a situation where the casting department chose the best person for the role regardless of their race, who is mixed race, is like 75% white by the way, and has Scandinavian heritage, in a cast full of white people. So in the example of Black Panther, a realistic comparison would be a person who is 75% black playing Black Panther in a cast full of black people. This is not for me to say whether it's okay or not okay, but you decide. And the last thing I'll say about this is that we should at least give her a chance to actually show her performance before judging her for being in the role.
It is so funny how over the weekend I had people in my comment section still butthurt over Nico Parker getting cast in How to Train Your Dragon as Astrid in the comments of my videos. And ironically, it came out today that filming's already started. So yeah, y'all still got her. She's still here. And the funny thing about it all is that Nico only got a quart of melanin in her. Like, y'all do know that she's majority white, right? Her mom is mixed and her daddy white from the UK. But baby, it was them curls.
So I heard we were talking about the casting of Nico Parker as Astrid because apparently she's not white enough. So I'm just going to tell you guys why the other people I don't think should be casted as their people. So as you can see here, I don't think Mason is a good cast for Hiccup because Hiccup has straight hair, Mason has curly hair, and that's just wrong. Like, curly hair people need to be represented. I forgot his name, but like, as you can see, his face is a lot more round than his face. So I really think they should have chose like a round-headed actor to play him. I'm almost positive this guy's Hispanic and he's obviously white. So why is no one okay? This girl's a redhead and this girl's obviously blonde, so that doesn't work. This guy has blonde dreads and they casted someone who is a brunette. Or is it red? I don't know. But he doesn't have blonde dreads, so like there's people that are born with blonde dreads. He should have just casted them. Even though he is the voice actor of Hiccup's father, he still doesn't have like a big red beard and everything, so it's like they should have obviously casted someone with a big red beard because they need representation as well. And then finally, this dude has a red beard, but obviously this dude has a blonde beard, so they should have just casted someone with a big, long, blonde beard instead. So, if we're gonna be upset about one casting, why don't we be upset about all of them? Why not?
Y'all, the plot thickens. I just found out that Nico Parker had blonde hair as a baby. Like, this is her. This is actually very common for multiracial children. I know people who had blonde hair growing up, and now they're brown with brown hair. But she's a natural blonde, unlike half of the actresses you guys are claiming will be better.
So if you're like me and you're upset about the race change that is happening with Astrid, I'm here to tell you that that is only the tip of the iceberg of what's going to be wrong with this movie. Because I don't know if you guys are aware, but this is CGI. Where are the real dragons? Why are we taking away roles from real life dragons that have a culture and a history that is being portrayed in this movie?
The only question I have in this whole debate is why isn't her hair blonde? Because in terms of skin tone, I originally thought she was white. I remember first seeing her in Dumbo. The movie wasn't that great, but I remember watching it and never doubted that that was her father and brother.
This is who's playing Astrid in How to Train Your Dragon, right? And I made a video about it. And for some reason, I keep getting comments like, oh, she's barely black. Like, she's only this % black, da-da-da-da-da. Whether or not y'all are looking at this girl and seeing a black woman, the movie producers wanted us to see her as a black woman. Because they gave Astrid, who was a white girl with blonde hair in the cartoon, box braids in the movie. They want us to see her as black. They could have easily given Nico Parker a blonde wig, but they chose to highlight her cultural background. And like I said in the video, if you want to go see my opinion on this shit, just click this. I was saying that I feel like, you know, all these different live actions keep doing this, and okay, fine, whatever, but y'all could really just make new stories about black people. Like, original black characters would be nice. Because when you take a character who was originally white and turn them black, there's a whole bunch of backlash that these actors get. I hope that these movies give them therapists. Did y'all see the foolishness when Hallie was Ariel? And I would like to ask a clarifying question to everyone who's saying she's barely black. What point are you trying to make by saying that? Like, is it like, oh, people shouldn't be mad because she isn't dark-skinned? I don't understand. It's weird to me? Okay. But besides all of that, I think that Nico Parker looks just like that girl, like the cartoon. And I think she's going to do a good job. If I get the impression that, you know, I'm like this to the movie, no. I just think, you know, I just feel like they just keep doing this on purpose for views. Like, I don't find it to be genuine at this point. Like, it's been done so many times, I'm not sure. I feel like it's like rage bait.
If you're upset that Astrid in the live action How to Train Your Dragon is black, were you also upset that she was voiced by a Latina woman in the original? And are you also upset that characters of color get whitewashed in Hollywood all the time? For example, the Deep from The Boys was originally a black man. The cast of Bullet Train and Ghost in the Shell is primarily white. despite the source material being explicitly Asian. The Ancient One in the MCU is played by a white person rather than an Asian person. Bane in The Dark Knight Rises is played by a white man despite him being Latino. And the gods in The Gods of Egypt are played by European white people despite depicting Egyptian gods. And the list goes on and on. Those are just a few of the more prominent examples. Whitewashing happens all the time in film and television. It really only gets attention though with bigger, more popular projects. And even then, it gets nowhere near as much attention as it does like when people complain that white characters get swapped into characters of color, like in The Little Mermaid or now Astrid in How to Train Your Dragon. It really makes you wonder, why is it that the usual suspects are all up in arms and upset when characters get changed from white to color, but are completely silent when characters of color get whitewashed?
I think this whole controversy with Nico Parker being casted as Astrid for the How to Train Your Dragon live action is so ridiculous. Like, I literally just seen somebody in the comments being like, they should have cast McKenna Grace. But it's not racist, right? Because we do know that McKenna Grace is not Scandinavian, right? And we do know that Nico Parker is more white than she is black, right? So what is the problem here? Because we can put a blonde, I'm blonde right now. What? Wait, because we can put a blonde wig on her and I really think it's going to be okay. Because put them side by side. I'm going to put them side by side right here. She looks just like the girl. She looks just like Astrid. Put a blonde wig on her and I promise you, you won't even know the difference. Sometimes I wish they wouldn't even tell you the actor. I wish they would have released the concept photos, because then y'all wouldn't even be complaining. She's barely black, y'all.
Yeah, this one's gonna be a little rough. I ain't gonna lie with y'all. There is a lot surrounding this topic right here. Almost to the point to where I'm kind of scared to even make this video. But I think I have a little bit of 2 cents that can kind of clear a lot of it up. Because the director has came out and spoke to many people about the reason why he chose and what he did with the movie. And keep in mind, this is the same original director that did the first movie. So I'm gonna highlight one comment that he said. But before that, so if you guys don't know, many people are upset at the How to Train Your Dragon movie because some of the characters that are casted in the live action version are not exactly the way they are in the original. And the biggest one in here is Astrid. So right here, this is Astrid. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and white. That is the original Astrid from the actual How to Train Your Dragon movie. But in the live action, she is black. And also brunette, and I don't think she has blue eyes. They're like a different color. But a lot of people are missing the point about this entire movie. The director, Dean DeBullis, I think I'm saying that right. If not, I'm sorry. He was not going for an original look for these actors. He didn't really care for the race part. He said, and you can pause this to read it, he said he best chose the actors that best fit their roles. Yes, there are some that he chose that were actually as they were portrayed in the original movie, but most of them were not. He chose the best actor that fit the role. Doesn't matter about their race, how they look, blue eyes, brown hair, blonde hair, didn't matter. If it was what he liked, he picked you. That's the whole point. It didn't matter what you looked like. And for the most part, some of you probably don't even know who this is. I'll give you a minute. This is America Georgine Ferreira, who's the original voice actor for Astrid. So Astrid's voice is not even a white person. Even in the second movie, she's also not voiced by any person that's white. But Dean even goes on to say that this pretty much is a fictional fantasy. The characters are the characters. He was not really going for accuracy or really any race in this movie, but only to be very creative and very unique with this now rerun of a live action version. And a lot of folks missed that, and it's kind of sad.
I'm not saying we should send the other actors hate, but there is a lot of inaccuracies when it comes to their costumes and hair. But people are not really talking about it, and maybe because they don't really care that much. Either way, the backlash is a bit unequal and just solely directed to Nico Parker.
I didn't even realize that the actor for Astrid in the How to Train Your Dragon live remake is a black or biracial woman until some incels and bigots started pointing it out because they were complaining. This is the actor, her name Nico Parker, and so far I'm aware that she's a very good actor. And this is Astrid. This is her with blonde hair. As far as I'm aware, her facial features really, literally match the part of Astrid, so what is the issue? Oh wait, I forgot.
So in watching all the think pieces people are making about the How to Train Your Dragon live action movie and Astrid's casting, a lot of people are forgetting something, and it's kind of making me go crazy because I'm like, didn't we just have this conversation like numerous times? And people are forgetting something. First of all, it's being written, co-produced, and directed by the same man who wrote and directed the animated films. Similar to the Percy Jackson live action series, it was created by the same man who wrote the book series. So you have literally the creators of the original source materials working on the live action adaptations. They are approving of the cast. It doesn't fucking matter to them what race the characters are, just as when they made the original book series and the original movie series, it didn't matter to them back then. I'm sorry to all of the blonde white girls out there, but Rick Riordan and Dean and Chris and whoever the fuck also worked on How to Train Your Dragons, they didn't create Annabeth, they didn't create Astrid, blonde white girls, like, for a purpose. They didn't sit there and think, okay, well, they have to be blonde for XYZ, historical, cultural accuracy, da-da-da-da-da. It didn't matter, because look who's playing them now. It's as if anyone can be these characters. Anyone can envision themselves in these characters. Anyone can play them. Because Greek gods and goddesses and their descendants don't exist. Dragons don't exist. Burke is a fictional village, country, whatever the fuck they live in. Yeah, people talk about, but they're Vikings. Vikings were a profession, not a race of people. There were black Vikings. But again, that world doesn't exist. They just made them white because that's a bird. Dean and Rick are white guys. And especially unless like you weren't alive during this time, if you look at like a lot of movies and shows, animated whatevers in 2010 and before that, a lot of them were white because they thought white people were the default. So what they're doing now is, you know, creating and adapting their source materials for the audience of today. Like, I thought the message was loud and clear when they casted, you know, those actresses to play Annabeth and Astrid, that, wow, the race actually didn't matter and they just made them blonde and white just because. Just because. It doesn't matter. Like, and it shouldn't matter now. You guys just don't want to see black people in movies. And that says more about you.
The whole Nico Parker as Astrid controversy is so funny to me because what do you mean historic accuracy in a cartoon based on a book about dragons? Historic accuracy where? Second to that, although the movie obviously includes the Viking narrative, I don't know if you've noticed, but in the trailer they literally all have American accents, so I think historic accuracy is not something that was even considered here. But if we were to talk about historic accuracy, Vikings were like raiders and explorers, and they explored far beyond their own northern territories. And that did include to them going to the territories such as Mediterranean, Middle East, as well as North Africa. So not all of them being white-haired and blue-eyed is actually so historically inaccurate. Of course, in real history, there were also colonizers, and nothing good ever came out of that, but I don't see people mentioning that realism of the story being brought into this conversation. And sure, there are also people that will go on and say that they just want the character to look the same as they did in the cartoon, but then just go and watch the cartoon. What's the issue here? I don't know, it's just so funny to me how people are finding historic inaccuracies in a live-action adaptation of a cartoon about dragons. Like, what historic accuracy are we even talking about here?
In other news, have you seen how good the CGI is for the movie and how bright it is? Most remakes are so dark that it's hard to see what's going on, but this looks really good. Let's hope the actual film will be a hit and we get better remakes. Wait, scratch that. Actually, let's hope for new and original movies.